right. All right. What's up, Facebook? Let me fire up the Instagram live here. Looks good to go. All right, team. Well, wonderful to see everybody. I am Dr. Jeff Moore. Thanks for joining us here on the PT on Ice Daily Show. It is Thursday, so it is Leadership Thursday. Great to be here. I'm coming at you live from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm actually down at South College, where many of you know I'm on faculty in our DPT program down here. So we've been down here actually for a couple of weeks, having an absolute blast. So let me dial you in first. Whenever it's Leadership Thursday, it is Gut Check Thursday. So let's talk about what that's going to look like this week. Very cool that Alan has shifted that programming back to a more of a body weight accessible kind of a programming. We definitely see we get more of you able to fit this workout in or have the equipment you need to be able to execute it. So I think last week we saw a huge increase in participation, not only from all of you, but from many of your patients and the like. So Gut Check Thursday for this week is a combination of double unders and hand release push-ups. And the rep scheme is a bit of a U shape. So for double unders, it goes 42, 30, 18, 30, 42. And then you're going to be working that in and off with hand release push-ups at 25, 20, 25, 25. So that is Gut Check Thursday. We always have that workout posted on our Instagram as well as our Facebook account. So if you ever have an issue, feel free to go ahead and jump on there. Alan's usually got some good instructions written on there too as far as how to execute those workouts. Upcoming course-wise, we've got a few of them this weekend. We have Older Adult Live is going to be down in Mesa, Arizona. And then Lumbar Spine is going to be at Onward Richmond at Mark Gallant's clinic. Zach Morgan's going to be running that course. That'll be in Richmond, Virginia. And then upcoming in the online format, we've got Pregnancy and Postpartum, which starts on June 28th. So that'll be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So if you want to jump into any of those courses, please make sure you do so. Okay. So Leadership Thursday, I want to chat about this idea of, are your weaknesses actually your strengths? So I've been on a real journey with this one over the past couple of weeks, because when I first got down here, Justin Dunaway made the comment to me, just the offhand comment. We were laughing about something, about how we were setting up some sort of a system or a flow. And he said, I am pathologically averse to inconsistency. And we were cracking up because he is pathologically averse to inconsistency. But what it made me realize, the wording was funny, right? The pathological part of it, but the wording was funny. And it's not like Justin was saying that it was something he was really working on to try and tolerate inconsistency more. But I think that it is an announcement of, this asymmetrical characteristic. And it really got me thinking about how people's asymmetrical characteristics are generally the ones that are the most valuable. So when Justin said that, it really began my thought process around all the teams that I'm a part of, right? And what everyone's really bringing to the table. It got me thinking about characteristics that I think are invaluable in different team members. But the surprising part, and the reason for this podcast, is because when I think about conversations I've had with those team members, that characteristic that I tend to feel is absolutely invaluable is one that they are working on. And when I say working on, I mean one that they are trying to actively reduce the amount of it that they have, which is what made Justin's pathological inconsistency comment so funny. For example, there's a lot of perfectionism, right? In a lot of the areas that I'm involved in, whether it's ICE or South College or Onward. It's abundant and it has massive value, right? I mean, perfectionism and the desire for products to be as close to perfect as possible has tremendous value, especially, and this is where it gets really relevant for team building, when you are maybe around a few other folks who are a little bit more of a run and gun, shoot from the hip kind of a style. The balance of those and you bringing that key characteristic is literally invaluable to that team being able to put forth any sort of product that is truly exceptional. I think about other examples. I've now been talking to a fair amount of people on this topic. Risk tolerance extremes are another great example. People who tend to be a little bit more not a little more, I shouldn't say it that way. It's not how it actually plays out. A lot more calculated, right? Maybe even risk averse, right? Oftentimes those people who are in that role because it brings a great balance to the organization are working on being a bit more courageous. Whereas people who are a bit more kind of just winging it are tending to try and be a bit more responsible. So it's these conversations have been fascinating because when I look at it, it is indeed these characteristics that are exactly what is foundational to creating an excellent team. Yet the people who have them are trying to get rid of them. And maybe I should be saying they're trying to get them more balanced, but I would argue the more extreme version is the better. Society in general encourages a drive towards the mean, right? And I think that's what's behind a lot of this is that being considered normal with these personality characteristics tends to be comfortable, whereas having characteristics that are way outside of normal tends to be uncomfortable. But my thoughts are, and I just want to put this out there for all of us to think about, when you are appropriately positioned on a team with respect to your dominant asymmetrical traits, to work on them is to actively work against the quality of the team. And I just want to give everyone that thought to roll around. I'd love some feedback on the show, but are you actually working against the most valuable thing that you bring? Because it would be a bit more comfortable to get that trait closer to normal, because that's where society is trying to drive you. Now, another couple action items or comments or thoughts on this. This is why authenticity is so important. I wonder all the time, why is it that authenticity seems to always be the underlying driver of excellence? And I think this is one reason it's so important. If you are showing your true colors, right? If you're showing your true colors, your imperfections or what have you, and if you're really putting it out there, people can recognize these traits. Great leaders can recognize these traits. And that's how great leaders can grab people who have these different asymmetrical strong traits and put them into that perfect blend where you are then able not only to not work on that thing, but to actually double down on what is that natural asymmetrical tendency. If you're not putting yourself out there, if you're trying to hide these things that are unique about you because maybe you think you're going to get a hard time for them or it's not like everybody else, I would argue that is the one thing that is preventing you from being recognized by a good leader and being put in the perfect spot on a team that as a unit is not only functional but exceptional. You've got to show off those things about you that are a bit odd, because it is those odd things that allow the conglomerate of excellence. It is working on those things that actually erodes the quality of the team. And I'm really struggling seeing all of this working on stuff when I really legitimately think the things that we are working on are indeed our strong suits in so many cases. Now, here's one more thought. It's Leadership Thursday. As a leader, you've got to make sure your people know that their uniqueness, there are areas where maybe they are pathologically averse to something, that their uniqueness is valuable. And I'm not sure we say that enough. I'm not sure we say, hey, your attention to detail, while occasionally frustrating, is an absolute bedrock, a foundation of why this company is doing so well. Or telling somebody, hey, I know you screwed that up, right? I know you took a big risk and maybe it didn't go so well and now you're being hard on yourself and trying to get more calculated. I don't want you to get more calculated. It is the fact that you're willing to take those risks that inside of the rest of the recipe that we built in the organization is what makes us function at such a high level. It is always being yourself that is the best choice. But the more I think about this, the more I want you to question, are you really working on things that are bad? Or are you working on things that are just atypical? And is it possible the atypical nature of them is what creates your ability to contribute to a greater excellence as a team? Leaders, are you letting people know, because it's uncomfortable to have asymmetries relative to normal? Are you letting your people know that have them, that the fact that they have them is what floats your organization, that makes you go from good to great? Are our weaknesses actually our strengths? And should we stop not only not working on these things, but should we start finding ways to magnify these things? That's the question. Give it some thought. All right, team. Live from Knoxville, Tennessee, here at South College. Got to get back in there. It's dry needling day, so we're going to have an absolute blast over there. I hope you're all doing great. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.